It is around, Oakley, so be careful. I wanted to bring up my kids in a developing country.
Not funny, Kate.
I became passionate about biology and in particular evolutionary biology. I mean, it sounds a really pretentious thing to say, but I wanted the children to grow up in an environment that was as close as we could get to our evolutionary environment. We were there for 12 years. Best decision ever. I wanted the kids to be able to function as the majority of people on the planet function, without electricity, without water, without a lot of possessions.
So who built this? Has it been here for ages?
Everyone.
Sorry?
Everyone.
Really?
To be able to make our own way. If something breaks, if you're out in the bush and something breaks, you mend it, that's it. There isn't an alternative, so you have to be creative. I do feel for you, I really do. I mean, it's not...
Ow, Marina, don't do it! Jam it so hard!
We just learned everything together. I mean, we didn't have a clue. What were dangerous animals, what were our friends, what were our foe, we just learned. As we got better and as we learnt more, I became much more cautious because I had a huge respect for the bush, and it's dangerous. There is no question that it is beautiful, but it is also merciless. Nature, there's no sense of right or wrong, there are no ethics, there are no morals. Not cruel, because cruelty requires intent. Trust, we all had to trust each other. And that is really, that's astonishing. I mean, I put my life in my children's hands often because I knew that they were, if I asked them to keep an eye on the line while I was getting out of the car to pick up some poop that I was, because I was monitoring the reproductive hormones, they would never take their eyes off those lines.
It's frozen it. How to and Inferno. It's 7:15 now, so we found the lines, which is great. We can go back and do school and then come back and collect samples from these guys this afternoon. Inferno's now wandering off. Fresnette just came in to have a snack. Just behaved very submissively, slid in, lay down in front of him. He looked at her and then said, oh, okay. Females do dominate kills, but the girls can get in as long as they play a careful game. Terribly sorry you missed that. Explain what happens when you get up in the morning, you go out on these early morning soaks.
I get woken up, I rush into the car, get a nice warm bed. Mummy made me and have a cup of tea. And this. And have some Push English biscuits. And then go back home.
Posh English biscuits. Sometimes it's so close, it's just to turn volume down. Yeah, she's very close.
I would have loved to have got out of that car and put my head on one of those females and given them a kiss and a cuddle. And I can tell you that when we immobilised them to put a collar on or to take blood, of course we kissed them. For sure we kissed them. It's a privilege when you have drugged a wild animal. It's an incredible privilege to have responsibility for that animal. There's an enormous amount of information that you can glean. We would never, ever treat wounds. We never gave them medication, antibiotics, any of those things, ever, ever, ever. And we would always work in silence, calmly, and then back away, and boy, did we protect that animal until it was up and walking. When we take Christelle's collar off, we'll no longer be able to access the intimate story of her life. We're setting her free. But is she free? Because we are so clever and because we are able to manipulate our environment, sometimes for the worse and sometimes for the better, we have made a lot of mistakes and we are trying to resolve them. But when I'm in the bush, I feel that I am in their space. That it's not just the animals, it's also the plants, it's the birds, it's their space, into which I come in a way that I hope is as non-destructive as possible, but by definition there is going to be destruction. I never wanted to interact with the lions. Now, because I had such respect for them. The minute that you get out of a car and you walk with a lion, for me, that lion has been diminished. Because in some way you have to impose your will on the animal. I just loved them. I loved accessing their story. They weren't showing us their babies. They weren't leading me to their death. I was following them as they were going about their business. I think it's really important that we don't anthropomorphize and that we keep our feelings to ourselves. Now, they would make us laugh, they would make us cry. We were worried for them. We loved them. They didn't love us. They didn't give a monkeys about us. I watched those cubs grow up. I watched their first mating. I monitored all the litters that they had, and I watched I watched all of their offspring die. Every single one of them was poisoned 11 years later. Every single one of them gone. The problem for lions now is that they've lost more habitat than any other terrestrial mammal. And they are being poisoned because nobody wants to have their cattle eaten. You're dealing with very impoverished communities, and their cattle they are their livelihood. That's their world. That's their wealth. That's their status. It matters when a lion goes and kills them. So there are no baddies here. But there's very bad management of a very challenging set of problems.